A very warm good morning to all of you. It's a beautiful Monday morning, the start of a fresh week ahead, and we're back once again with Breakfast News. I'm Preeti, with me is Rukma. In the next 1 hour, we've got a packed show for you. We'll get you everything that's making it to the national headlines. We'll get you international updates. We'll get you updates from the world of sports. We'll also get you a web review wherein we let you know what all headlines have been put forth in various web portals all across social media. Stay with us for the next 1 hour.
Right, and well, as Preeti was saying, it's a packed 1 hour ahead here on Breakfast News on DD India. And we'll be taking you through all the latest developments on the vaccine front, both nationally as well as internationally. Prime Minister to undertake a visit to Kutch tomorrow, and he'll also be inaugurating, where he'll be laying the foundation stone of a number of development projects in the state. We take you through all the pre-budget consultations, what they could mean as the Finance Minister announces that they will be held in a virtual format. Also, all the news from sports and the international arena. But first up, here are the headlines.
A farmers delegation from Uttarakhand meets Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar, supports new Farm Act. Tomar and Home Minister Amit Shah also meet BJP leaders from Punjab to discuss the farmers' protest.
Farmers threaten to intensify their agitation. Union ministers and BJP leaders fan out across the country to sensitize them on the reforms. Union Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad addresses farmers in Bakhtiarpur, and UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath in Meerut say opposition has double standards on the farm sector.
Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to hold first pre-budget consultations with top industrialists virtually in New Delhi in connection with the forthcoming General Budget 2021-22.
Voting underway for third phase of local body polls in Kerala's 4 northern districts, Malappuram, Kozhikode, Kannur and Kasaragod. Counting of votes to take place on December 16th. Results of Zilla Panchayat elections in North and South Goa to be announced today. Counting begins in 15 notified centres.
In India, the number of active COVID-19 cases fall below 3,62,000 mark. Recovery rate increases to 94.93%. Death toll falls below 500 for the 8th straight day. BJP President JP Nadda tests positive for COVID-19.
And in international news, first round of US corona vaccination to begin today. General Gustav Perna, in charge of distribution, informs first 3 million doses to be shipped across all states this weekend. New nationwide lockdown to come into force from Wednesday in Germany.
All right, those are the top stories we're tracking this hour. First, we begin with details of the national headlines.
And as we were telling you, the Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar yesterday addressed a delegation of over 100 farmers from Uttarakhand who extended their support to the new farm laws. Also, a delegation of Punjab BJP leaders led by State President Ashwani Sharma met Tomar and Union Home Minister Amit Shah in Delhi yesterday. Stressing that reforms are necessary for a new India, Narendra Singh Tomar said that these reforms will benefit farmers in the long run. Meanwhile, today on the 19th day of the agitation, farmers have threatened to intensify it further. A day-long hunger strike has been planned for today. Security has been tightened accordingly. A report.
Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar on Sunday held talks with farmers from Uttarakhand as the protest against new farm acts entered the 19th day. This comes a day after he reached out to farmers from Haryana.
उत्तराखंड के किसान बड़ी संख्या में कृषि सुधार बिलों का समर्थन करने के लिए मेरे यहाँ आए थे। भारत सरकार की ओर से ऐसे सभी किसान भाइयों का हृदय से बहुत बहुत स्वागत है, बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन है। उन्होंने कृषि सुधार बिलों को समझा उसके बारे में अपनी राय दी और अपना समर्थन व्यक्त किया। इसके लिए मैं भारत सरकार की ओर से सभी किसान भाइयों का आभार प्रकट करता हूं।
माननीय कृषि मंत्री जी ने ये कहा, आश्वासन दिया हमें कि हम लोग किसानों के साथ बैठ के बात करके इसका समाधान निकालेंगे, क्योंकि कृषि मंत्री ने ये कहा किसान हमारे हैं, हम किसानों का किसी तरह का उत्पीड़न नहीं होने देंगे। किसानों की आड़ में कुछ लोग राजनीति कर रहे हैं, जिसका नुकसान हमारे किसान भाइयों को हो रहा है।
हम आज किसान की तरह आए हैं, बात की है मंत्री जी से, उन्होंने बताया कि हमने ऐसा ये चीज मानी भी है, ये करी भी है, तो उन्होंने उसका पूरा आश्वासन दिया, सारा कुछ किया, टेबल पे बात चल रही है। तो मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि सरकार कहीं से कहीं तक किसानों के खिलाफ नहीं है। कि माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार जब किसी भी सेक्टर में किसी के भी खिलाफ नहीं है, तो ये किसानों के खिलाफ कैसे हो सकती है।
Earlier in the day, Home Minister Amit Shah and Agriculture Minister went into a huddle with BJP leaders from Punjab to review the situation. The government reiterated that the reforms would benefit the farmers, although it could consider suitable amendments to the acts.
प्रधानमंत्री जी माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी खुद इसकी मॉनिटरिंग कर रहे हैं, गृह मंत्री जी इसके बैठ के ले रहे हैं, माननीय तोमर साहब सब लगातार प्रयास कर रहे हैं। और इसके अंदर जिस तरह से विपक्ष है वो इसके अंदर रोड़ा डालने का प्रयास कर रहा है। ये बिल प्योरली किसानों के लिए बना है, तो मेरा तो यही कहना है कि किसानों को 2 कदम आगे बढ़ना चाहिए और इस बिल का समर्थन करना चाहिए, और निश्चित रूप से कुछ उसका अगर उनको संशोधन भी अगर लगता है तो उसके लिए भारत सरकार तैयार।
The BJP accused the opposition of spreading misinformation about the reforms and instigating the agitating farmers. The party says it will educate the farmers about the benefits of the new acts and dispel the myths circulated by the opposition. Union Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad addressed farmers at Bakhtiarpur in Bihar. In his speech, the minister recounted the benefits of new farm acts and cautioned people against vested interests seeking to exploit the situation. And Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath spoke about farm reforms at the inauguration of an agricultural university's library in Meerut.
हम कहने को तैयार हैं कि एमएसपी नहीं हटेगी, तो कौन लोग हैं कह रहे हैं कि जब तक ये कानून हटेगा नहीं हम पीछे हटेंगे नहीं। तो हम भी कहना चाहेंगे बड़े आदर के साथ, भारत सरकार किसानों का बहुत सम्मान करती है, नरेंद्र मोदी जी किसानों का बहुत सम्मान करते हैं और देश के किसान भी मोदी जी का बहुत सम्मान करते हैं। हर जगह हम जीत रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर किसानों के आंदोलन के आड़ में भारत को तोड़ने वाले लोग, टुकड़े टुकड़े लोग पीछे होकर आंदोलन के कंधे से गोली चलाएंगे तो उनके खिलाफ बहुत सख्त कार्रवाई भी की जाएगी। ये भी हम बहुत साफ साफ कहना चाहते हैं।
राजीव गांधी जी देश के प्रधानमंत्री रहे। प्रधानमंत्री जब थे तो उन्होंने इस बात पे चिंता व्यक्त की थी कि दिल्ली से 100 रुपया आता है, लेकिन एक किसान और एक मजदूर तक पहुंचते पहुंचते वह केवल 10 रुपये रह जाता है। ये 90 रुपया कौन चढ़ कर जाता है? ये वही चढ़ कर जाते हैं जो आज किसानों की प्रगति और देश की प्रगति पर हो हल्ला करके देश के अंदर गुमराह करके अव्यवस्था और अराजकता का माहौल पैदा करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं।
Meanwhile, farmers continued their sit-in at the Singh border, Tikri and Ghazipur. They threatened to intensify their agitation. A day-long hunger strike was planned for Monday. They have also threatened to remove barriers on the Jaipur-Delhi and Delhi-Agra highways. Security has accordingly been tightened. Police personnel have been deployed at the Rajasthan border. The government said it was open for talks with farmers. So far, 6 rounds of talks have been held. The government had made certain proposals in writing after the last round of talks, which the farmers rejected out of hand. DD India.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will begin her pre-budget consultations with different stakeholder groups from today in connection with the forthcoming General Budget 2021-22. It will be for the first time that the budget consultation will happen virtually in wake of the coronavirus outbreak. In a tweet, the Ministry of Finance informed that the first pre-budget consultations with top industrialists will be spread over morning and afternoon sessions. The Finance Minister is likely to present her second budget of Modi II government on February 1st, 2021. It is a common practice for the Finance Minister to meet various stakeholders, including farmers' organizations, economists, civil society and industry bodies as part of the pre-budget consultative exercise. Meanwhile, Nirmala Sitharaman yesterday reviewed implementation of Atmanirbhar Bharat package with secretaries of all ministries and departments concerned. In an official release, the ministry said that various ministries and departments have started implementing the packages or schemes under the 3 Atmanirbhar Bharat packages.
And our correspondent Abhishek Jha now joins us for more on this story. Abhishek, well, lots of expectations from the finance minister this time around as she prepares for the budget 2021. What can we expect from these consultations when we talk about major concerns of, say, industry bodies in these post-COVID times as we are slowly moving out of the pandemic situation?
Rukma, morning, and surely we are moving away from this coronavirus pandemic thing, but the thing is that this whole year, the last financial year 1920, has been washed away with this impact of corona pandemic, and the new year, the new budget that will be coming in 1st of Feb in 2021 will have to address the challenges of past, loss of past, and the challenges of future as well. So this whole budget exercise will have to be significantly consider the impact of COVID pandemic and how it has impacted the economy. And in this context, this industrialist body meetings are happening while Indian government has already reviewed the economic scenario in the past many times, and various stimulus packages have also been announced to support the industry, to support the MSME sector and various sectors across the economic spectrum. The more what can be done and more institutionalized way of doing things. These are the issues that may come up during the discussion with industrialists and the finance minister. Today's meeting will be happening virtually because most of the meeting we are seeing in this COVID pandemic time has happened in this scenario virtually only, and today's meeting will also be conducting, the finance minister is conducting virtually. And most of the industrialist body will be not only listening to the government's side of the story, that how the economic scenario is, what is the government's scope, and how much of elbow room government has in terms of giving more stimulus and supporting the economy. Government also seeks to their advices of what are the situation and what are the concepts and the plannings they can propose to the government, what are the ventures they can propose to the government, what are the kind of concessions that industrialist body wants, and how much government can do away with that, or how much government can accommodate with that. So all sort of discussion, this would be quite informally. At the end of the discussion, of course, the industrialist body and the industrialist group will give their representation to the finance minister so that this consideration could be marked for the upcoming budget, and this discussion and all the notes that finance ministry will be making on the basis of that will be taken to the Prime Minister and they will be discussed before the budget is finalized.
All right, Abhishek, when you're talking of COVID-19, then the virus struck the world unaware, and so much so that, you know, the brunt of the pandemic had to be witnessed to a significant extent by most of the countries, rather all the countries, all across the world. I would want you to talk more about what are the challenges now. All the countries are differently placed, but when we talk of our economy coming back on track, what are the challenges? The finance minister will be talking to different stakeholders gradually. She begins talking to the industrialists today. When we talk of bringing back the economy, there have been positive sentiments about good economic recovery ahead for the country. How are we placed globally, and what are the challenges ahead for the government, for the finance minister when she presents the budget?
So Preeti, see, in the last 8 to 10 months that this COVID pandemic has hit the economy and world across the globe, there is no denying of the fact that economy has dealt with it in it has given a huge blow to the economies. Now the scene has been that in the past few months, government has given stimulus packages to support the industry in various sectors, MSME, agriculture, export, import, manufacturing. How can these support system, because the support system, government doesn't have a coffee a coffer where it can continuously support the various of the sectors, but it has to with its limited resources, because this year the income of the government has also been impacted, so its resources will be limited, and now every stakeholder of the economy, from various sectors will have to come together, dwell upon the issue, and bring forward some planning as to how to have a sustainable path of recovery from this point onwards. We have seen in the past that government has given almost $120 billion of a stimulus package to have more job opportunities to support industries, because we have seen a huge number of job losses have also been the result of this COVID pandemic, because so many small and scale industries have been shut, so many job opportunities have been lost. So how to revive those job sector scenario, that is also one of the key concern of the government. And now because there have been so many new challenges also, as new spending will be needed to certain sectors. However, India has been able to drive some sort of growth, and some sort of opportunity has been also encashed during this crisis, when government came up with the idea of aiding and creating an infrastructure where all those requirements related to COVID treatment and COVID support can be created. And we have seen that how India has been one of the leaders around the globe in extending its medical equipment, medical accessories, and all COVID-related equipment that was needed to extend all this support to other countries and sell them also. So this has also given some kind of new industrial scope, maybe small one, but then there was this new scope to the industry, which industry has also worked around. There are other sectors also, like government, where government can squeeze its own spending. Because so much of less travel is happening now, so government can ensure that limited spending will be planned for this all through the country. The travel scenario of various ministers, bureaucrats and government officials, all the government spending that happens on travel, that can be curtailed down. And certain more challenges will also come, because day to day we have seen that work from home or work from anywhere, as our Prime Minister has said, this has become the new normal. So how can those cost cutting can also happen at the same time, while not impacting the performance or not impacting the day-to-day routine and the work of various ministries and officers. So these are the small changes that government may need to bring in and make them institutionalized, so that to have more space for other spending in other areas also.
All right, Abhishek, we'll end this conversation here. We'll come back to you again during the day when the consultations start. Thank you so much for joining us and putting into perspective for us how important these consultations are.
And I'm moving on to some election news. In Kerala, voting for the third and final phase of local body elections began a short while ago at 7. Voting is being held in 6,867 wards in 354 local bodies across the 4 districts of Kasaragod, Kannur, Kozhikode and Malappuram. The entire election process is being held adhering to strict COVID guidelines. Polling will conclude by 6 p.m. COVID patients and quarantined voters can conduct their voting through special postal ballots distributed via special polling officers. Patients and those who are quarantined who could not be included in this list have been given the opportunity to vote directly at polling booths after 6 p.m. equipped with full PPE kit. The first phase of the elections witnessed 73.12% polling, while 76.78% was recorded in the second phase. Counting will take place on December 16th, when the fate of 1,200 local bodies will be decided. Elections are expected to be a tough three-cornered fight between the CPI-led LDF, Congress-led UDF and BJP-led NDA.
The result of Bodoland Territorial Council election have come as a shot in the arm for the BJP. The party and its new ally are all set to wrest the control of the council for the first time.
After winning local body polls in Rajasthan in the beginning of the week, the BJP had another good show in Bodoland Territorial Council polls after the results were announced on Sunday. Ruling Bodoland People's Front got 17 seats, BJP's new ally United People's Party Liberation won 12 seats, BJP 9, while the Congress and the Gan Suraksha Party bagged 1 seat each. The Assam BTC has a majority figure of 21 in a total of 40 seats. In the BTC elections, UPPL, BJP and GSP have won 22 seats in total.
BJP had only 1 seat earlier. It has won 9 and with partnership of UPPL, it has got absolute majority.
After announcement of BTC result, UPPL, a regional outfit of Bodoland area, GSP, another regional outfit of Bodoland area, and Bharatiya Janata Party has officially entered into an alliance, and we are going to stake claim to form the next BTC. All the three parties has chosen Sri Pramod Boro, President of UPPL, as their leader.
हम लोग एक साथ BTR के गवर्नमेंट बना रहे हैं, तो हम BTR वासी लोगों को हम धन्यवाद देते हैं कि BTR वासी ने हम लोग को इस चुनाव में इतना सपोर्ट किया.
After NDA's victory, PM Modi tweeted and thanked people for reposing faith in them. NDA is committed to serving the people of the Northeast. I congratulate our ally UPPL and BJP Assam for securing a majority in the Assam BTC election and wish them the very best in fulfilling people's aspirations. I thank the people for placing their faith in the NDA. Home Minister Amit Shah also expressed happiness over the performance of NDA. He said, NDA secured a comfortable majority in Assam BTC election. Congratulations to our ally UPPL, CM Sarbanand Sonowal, Himanta Biswa Sarma, Ranjit Kumar Das and BJP Assam unit. I thank people of Assam for their continued faith in PM Narendra Modi's resolve towards a developed Northeast. BJP President JP Nadda also took to Twitter and said, congratulations to NDA partner UPPL and Assam CM Sarbanand Sonowal, State President Ranjit Kumar Das, Senior Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma and BJP Assam for securing clear majority in Assam BTC election. The result shows the faith of people in leadership and policies of Honorable PM Narendra Modi ji. Meanwhile, BJP is upbeat over the results of the Rajasthan Panchayat Samiti and Zilla Parishad election in Rajasthan and attributed the success to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. BJP also pointed to a string of victories BJP has secured in diverse geographies.
असम का मामला हो, अरुणाचल का हो, राजस्थान का हो, हैदराबाद का हो, बिहार का हो, मध्य प्रदेश, यूपी, गुजरात, मणिपुर, कहीं भी जाओ, बीजेपी बढ़ रही है, कांग्रेस समाप्ति पर है.
BJP's electoral victories are crucial because they are coming at a time when some farmers' organizations are protesting, demanding the withdrawal of 3 agricultural laws. The party says that this victory is showing the public's trust in the policies of the Modi government across the country. With inputs from Assam Bureau, DD India.
And 51.51% polling was recorded in the 6th phase of the District Development Council elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Polling was held in 31 constituencies.
In Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, polling for the 6th phase of the District Development Council concluded peacefully. Voting took place in 31 DDC constituencies in this phase. Of this, 14 were in Kashmir Valley and 17 in Jammu Division. A turnout of over 51.51% has been recorded. Addressing a press conference in Jammu this evening, State Election Commissioner KK Sharma said that in Jammu, voting percent was 68.56% and in Kashmir Valley, 31.55% voting was recorded.
6th phase of DDC election also witnessed again the hopes, the enthusiasm among people in Jammu and Kashmir, especially in Kashmir where people came in large number.
यहाँ पे मतलब स्कूल अच्छी तरह से होनी चाहिए, मतलब पार्कें वगैरह, मतलब पानी, जैसे बिजली की प्रॉब्लम है, उसके लिए मतलब हम वोट डाल रहे हैं इस वक्त.
अब बदलाव होना चाहिए, हम चाहते हैं बदलाव इधर. गरीब आवाम की काम होना चाहिए, बाकी हमें कुछ नहीं चाहिए, हमें आवाम खुश होना चाहिए.
In another development, BJP National General Secretary Tarun Chugh, Union Minister of State and senior BJP leader Anurag Thakur and BJP National Spokesperson Syed Shahnawaz Hussain along with other senior leaders participated in a Shikara rally in Dal Lake of Kashmir. The rally witnessed massive support from the locals. Anurag Thakur said that people's participation in electoral process is a clear indication that people want to get rid of violent politics and want peace and development in the Union Territory. He added that government's efforts are underway to boost tourism in the region.
यहाँ पर देश का झंडा भी है और हमारी पार्टी का भी झंडा है। हम ये संदेश दे रहे हैं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी यहाँ डीडीसी का चुनाव डेवलपमेंट के मुद्दे पर लड़ रही है। हम टेररिज्म को हटाना चाहते हैं, हम टूरिज्म को बढ़ाना चाहते हैं।
आज जम्मू कश्मीर की डल लेक में हम डल का संदेश भी दे रहे हैं और दल का संदेश भी दे रहे हैं। नरेंद्र मोदी जी का विकास का संदेश भी दे रहे हैं तो अमन और शांति का संदेश भी दे रहे हैं।
The District Development Council election in Jammu and Kashmir is the first democratic exercise since it was reorganized as a union territory last year. 8-phase DDC elections, which began on November 28th, will conclude on December 19th. The counting of votes will take place on December 22nd. With input from Ramesh Raina and Ramatyagi, DD India.
The Karnataka State Road Transport Corporation strike, which is on for the last 3 days, has intensified and talks have failed with the employees of the KSRTC and BMTC. The government is expected to take stock of the situation and take further action. The Road Transport Corporation employees have kept off the roads in protest so that their demands are met. The meeting with the Chief Minister had resulted in assurance that some demands will be met after the government agreed on some terms, but the employees refused to return to work. The state government has appealed to the Transport Department employees to call off their strike as commuters were facing hardships.
RSS leader Indresh Kumar released a book on the life of famous Indian Sanskrit grammarian Bhagirath Prasad Tripathi, Vag Yoga Vaibhavam, on the occasion of his 87th birthday on Saturday. Vag Yoga Samman was awarded to prominent personalities from various fields at the ceremony. In the series, the highest Rashtriya Ratna honour was awarded posthumously to Sanskrit scholar from Uttarakhand and eminent writer late Krishna Kumar Ayurvedalkar. Besides Vice Chancellor of Allahabad University, Dr. Sangeeta Srivastava, Vice Chancellor of Gujarat Central University, Dr. Rama Shankar, and Vice Chancellor of Himalayan University, Dr. Rajesh Nyathani, were also honoured with the Rashtriya Ratna.
त्यागे कुतो धर्म संघर्ष से जोड़ करके विद्या प्राप्त की जा सकती है और कण कण का सत्य करके धार्मिकता प्राप्त की जा सकती है।
India, Iran and Uzbekistan will hold their first trilateral meeting on joint use of the strategic Chabahar port today against the backdrop of reports that the incoming Joe Biden administration in the US will re-engage Tehran on the nuclear issue. The first trilateral working group meeting will be jointly chaired by Deputy Ministers of Iran and Uzbekistan and a secretary from India. The announcement came a day after Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev proposed during a summit with Prime Minister Modi that a trilateral meeting should be held with Iran to promote Chabahar port. India currently operates one of the terminals of the port that it has developed. The strategic project has been given a waiver from sanctions imposed by the US on Iran in view of its importance in shipping cargo and humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan.
And the government of Bangladesh on Sunday signed an agreement with the Serum Institute of India for procurement of 3 crore doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. The vaccine will be delivered in 6 installments of 50 lakh doses each. Health Minister Zahid Malik told the media after the signing of the agreement that the vaccine has proved safe during trials in different countries and it is suitable for Bangladesh, reports the news agency UNB. He said the government is also in talks with other countries to procure more doses of the COVID-19 vaccine.
Bangladesh Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen has said that Swadhinata Sarak between Bangladesh and India will be open on 26th March next year. He said that the road remains functional on the Indian side while it will be connected through Mujibnagar, Meherpur district in Bangladesh. He said that Chilahati Haldirbari rail link, which was active till 1965, will be inaugurated during the summit meeting between the two prime ministers on December 17th. Speaking to media in Dhaka on Sunday, Foreign Minister Dr. Momen said that the relationship between the two countries was historic and time-tested. Calling the current phase of Bangladesh-India ties as the golden chapter, Dr. Momen said that the two countries have set an example by resolving issues like land border agreement and maritime boundaries through dialogue and discussions.
The Indian Institute of Technology, Gandhinagar, is to host the Indo-UK virtual conference on the 5 Cs of water vulnerability, climate change, contaminants, co-occurrence, conflicts and COVID-19. The 3-day conference is being co-organized by IIT GN's Discipline of Earth Sciences, Dr. Kiran C. Patel Centre for Sustainable Development, the UK-India Education Research Initiative, Newcastle University, British Council and the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. The conference will commence with the inaugural address of Dr. Rakesh Kumar, Director Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, National Environmental Engineering Research Institute on Climate-Linked Resilient Cities Development Planning. Today, the web conference, which is part of an Indo-UK joint project, aims to bring together leading academicians, scientists, researchers and practitioners from India and abroad to share their experiences and research outcomes on various aspects of water quality in the aquatic environment. The event is expected to act as a premier interdisciplinary platform to present and discuss the most recent innovations, trends, concerns, practical challenges and solutions adopted in the fields of wastewater, surface water and groundwater.
Alright, time now to get you updates from across the world in our segment Across the Globe.
And in Across the Globe, we tell you that we'll be bringing you in detail all the latest developments on the COVID situation, as there's a lot of positive news as countries prepare for mass inoculation, and the buying process and the distribution process has begun. Also, Israel moving forward with peace with other countries. All that and more, stay with us.
The global COVID-19 cases have crossed 70 million and 1.61 million deaths have been reported. The total number of infections globally stood at 72 crore 62 lakh 7,682. Now, the US continues to be the worst affected from the pandemic, reporting over 16 crore 73 lakh 5,332 cases, and the US also has the highest number of fatalities in the world from the virus, reporting over 3 lakh 6,451 deaths. Now, Brazil continues to trail behind the US, reporting over 6.9 million cases respectively. Brazil has the second highest death toll in the world. Russia's tally stands at 26 crore 53 lakh 928 cases and 46,941 deaths, making it the fourth most affected country in the world from the pandemic. Meanwhile, France is at the 5th position, reporting 23 lakh 76,852 cases and 57,911 deaths. The UK has reported 18 lakh 49,403 cases and 64,170 deaths, while Italy has reported 18 lakh 43,712 cases and 64,520 deaths.
And the death toll in the United States from the corona pandemic is closing on the 300,000 mark. The total number of COVID-19 cases is expected to hit a record 16 million in the days to come, as millions of doses of a new vaccine are expected to start rolling from today onwards across America. The first batch of shots are expected to be aimed largely at healthcare workers and residents and staff of long-term care facilities. Americans, already weary from months of lockdowns, entered a holiday season under pressure to stay home, avoid gatherings and curtail Christmas shopping, forcing most major cities to remain under strict rules imposed by state and local officials. The first vaccine was approved late on Friday by the US Food and Drug Administration and is expected to touch off a mass inoculation campaign of unparalleled dimensions to end the pandemic. On the other side, workers at a Pfizer Inc. factory in Michigan dispatched the first shipments of the COVID vaccine on Sunday, launching the largest and most complex vaccine distribution project ever in the United States. Workers clapped and whistled as the first boxes were moved toward waiting trucks. The long-awaited moment comes as infections and deaths from COVID are surging in the US.
And Germans are facing up to new nationwide lockdown coming into effect from Wednesday. All non-essential shops, schools and beauty practitioners will close under the new restrictions. Private gatherings will remain limited to not more than 5 people from 2 households. And although the rules will be eased slightly over Christmas holidays, while Germany's government district was quiet on Sunday, Berlin's shopping streets have been packed in the recent days, while crowds have also gathered around mulled wine stands. Also, the restrictions beginning next week include a blanket outdoor alcohol ban. The new restrictions were announced by Chancellor Angela Merkel on Sunday. While announcing the restrictions, Merkel said that a new lockdown is necessary in Germany because lighter measures to curb the spread of the virus did not work well enough.
And Italy plans to set up primrose-shaped pavilions in its artistic squares to dispense vaccines against corona during a campaign that kicks off next month. Architect Stefano Boeri has donated an architectural and communicative concept behind the anti-COVID vaccination campaign. The integrated proposal includes the design for the temporary pavilions to be used for administering the vaccine in the main Italian squares and a mobile information totem to be set up in public places. The circular structure of the pavilions can be easily dismantled and reassembled and will rest on a prefabricated wooden base, which will also be used for supporting the various systems in the internal rooms. Inside the pavilions, there will be space for medical staff to administer the vaccine, storage, changing rooms and toilets. Italy hopes to begin vaccinating socio-medical staff and residents of homes for the elderly with 1.8 million doses in mid-January.
A shooter who had opened fire at a Christmas show in front of St. John, the Divine Cathedral in Harlem, has died after being shot in the head by the cops. The gunman began with firing 2 semi-automatic handguns at the steps of a landmark New York City cathedral yesterday afternoon. New York Police Commissioner said that the man had a lengthy criminal history and was carrying a bag containing a can of gasoline, rope, wire, knives and a Bible. The 45-minute concert had just concluded and people were starting to walk away when a series of shots were heard, sending people running down Amsterdam Avenue, screaming and diving to the sidewalk. It wasn't clear if the gunman was aiming at people or firing in the air.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Sunday announced that the European Union and the UK negotiating teams have been mandated to continue the post-Brexit trade talks beyond the end of this weekend. After a constructive and useful phone call with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, von der Leyen said that despite the fact that deadlines have been missed over and over, we both think it is responsible at this point to go the extra mile. Earlier this week, EU and UK leaders set a deadline of Sunday for a trade deal decision. However, failure to reach a free trade agreement means bilateral trade will fall back on World Trade Organization rules in 2021. In the meantime, British Premier Boris Johnson has stressed he remains hopeful about the talks and he is open to talking with other EU leaders.
In his address to the Climate Ambition Summit, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has hailed the incredible things being done by India in the solar energy sector, as he warned that the emergency facing the world from climate change was far more destructive than even the pandemic. Johnson said this in his speech to the virtual summit, which was earlier addressed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi among around 70 heads of the states and governments. The British Prime Minister reiterated the United Kingdom's pledge to radically cut dependence on fossil fuels.
And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed President Donald Trump's announcement of a normalization deal between Israel and Morocco as a historic peace between us. Netanyahu said it would lead to direct flights between Morocco and Israel, and that the 4th US brokered deal between Israel and an Arab country in recent months would be a very warm peace. Thanking Trump, he added that he wants to thank the King of Morocco, King Mohammed VI, for taking the historic decision to bring the historic peace between the two countries. Morocco was the country from which the greatest number of Jews emigrated to Israel after the 1948 creation of the state. A small Jewish community still remains in the North African country. News broke in Israel as Jews marked the first night of the Hanukkah, the festival of lights.
And tourists are flocking to southern Chile to experience the total solar eclipse that will darken the skies on Monday across a swath of land passing over Chile and Argentina. On Sunday, residents and tourists alike were buying up special eyewear to safely view the astronomical event in view of Villarrica. The eclipse will peak just after noon in Villarrica when the moon moves in front of the sun, blotting out the midday light. Parts of Chile are some of the best locations in the world to watch the heavens due to their clear skies. And up next, we get you updates from the world of business in our segment, Biz Buzz.
And in a bid to give a push to digital payments, the Reserve Bank of India has allowed the transfer of funds through real-time gross settlement round the clock from today. The real-time fund transfer system will be available for customers and interbank transactions round the clock, except for the interval between end of day and start of day processes, whose timings would be duly broadcast through the RTGS system. RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das announced that the RTGS facility would become operational 24/7 from 12:30 a.m. tonight.
Up next, we get you sports updates in our segment, Sports Track. Champions Mercedes endured an uncharacteristic off day as Max Verstappen cruised to victory for Red Bull in Formula One season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on Sunday. Max Verstappen, starting from pole, led every lap of what turned out to be a processional race to cross the line 15.9 seconds ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Now, it was also Red Bull's first win in Abu Dhabi since Sebastian Vettel took victory for the Milton Keynes-based team in 2013 and ended Mercedes' streak of 7 straight wins in the Gulf Emirate. Verstappen's victory under the floodlights was the 10th of his career and second this season. Now, this win also moved Max Verstappen closer to Bottas in the overall standings, but he ultimately had to settle for third behind the Finn.
World heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua knocked out Bulgarian Kubrat Pulev in the 9th round to retain his heavyweight titles. Joshua produced a devastating win over Bulgarian Kubrat Pulev near the end of the 9th round to retain his IBF, WBO and WBA belts at the Wembley Arena on Saturday. Joshua looked one punch away from finishing it, but Pulev somehow survived an onslaught to make it to the bell. This is Anthony Joshua's 24th win from 25 professional fights, set up the clash next year with Tyson Fury, who holds the WBC belt.
And every day we get you a health tip to make sure that you remain in good spirits and good health, and that we get you in our segment, next segment, that is health. Heart diseases are on the rise. Up next, watch this report to know what factors increase the risk to heart and how to prevent heart diseases.
Heart disease has become a major health concern as the risk of heart attack is now increasing even in young adults. There are many factors which are responsible for the increased risk of heart disease. Most of these factors are related to our lifestyle.
Heart diseases are the biggest killer in India and worldwide. Every year 1.8 crore people die worldwide from heart attack. In India, the number of heart patients is the largest in the world and it is the biggest killer. One needs to identify the symptoms at an early stage. There is development of blockage because of the deposition of the cholesterol. Cholesterol is of two forms. One is LDL cholesterol, that is bad cholesterol, and HDL cholesterol is a good cholesterol. This LDL cholesterol causes blockage inside the heart arteries and it blocks the heart arteries. When this plaque, which is ruptures, it causes the liberation of fibrinogen and deposition of the platelets. These cause clot formation. It blocks the artery totally, and the blood supply to that portion of the heart stops totally, and this is the cause of heart attack. If a person develops these types of symptoms, one should immediately rush to the hospital.
It is important to identify the risk factors for heart disease and try to modify them. Leading a sedentary lifestyle and unhealthy diet can increase the risk of heart disease.
Take a healthy diet, a balanced diet. In balanced diet, we need to take high fiber diet, lots of vegetables and fruits, and not to avoid the eating of fatty foods, particularly those fats which get solidified in the winters. They contain saturated fats. Saturated fats get deposited inside the heart arteries and block the heart arteries. Even they block the brain arteries and the arteries on the limbs, legs, and cause the blockage there. Once the blood supply to that portion is affected, it causes serious symptoms. So one should take a balanced diet, more of a vegetarian diet, and avoid red meat. If apart from that, one should do regular exercise and keep his weight under check. Regular exercise means at least 30 to 40 minutes of brisk walking per day is essential. Apart from that, one should do yoga and meditation. Tobacco or drinking are very serious heart problems which can cause problems in the body.
Start following a healthy lifestyle from today to keep your heart fit and healthy. Make healthy lifestyle choices to let your healthy heart beat. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
And it's the 14th of December today. Let's take a look at all the major happenings that made this day special in history.
On December 14, 1918, B.K.S. Iyengar, the founder of Iyengar Yoga and one of the foremost yoga teacher in the world, was born at Belur in Kolar, Karnataka. On this day in 1924, Raj Kapoor, also known as the greatest showman of Hindi cinema, was born in Peshawar. He was the winner of several accolades, including 3 National Film Awards and 11 Filmfare Awards. He was also awarded with the Padma Bhushan in 1971 and Dada Saheb Phalke Award in 1987 for his contribution to the arts. On the same day in 1934, Dada Saheb Phalke Award winner, renowned director and screenwriter Shyam Benegal was born in Trimulagiri, Hyderabad. Benegal was awarded the Padma Shri in 1976 and Padma Bhushan in 1991. On this day in 1911, Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen became the first man to reach the South Pole, beating an expedition led by Robert Falcon Scott. On this very day in 1971, over 200 of East Pakistanis intellectuals were executed by the Pakistan Army and their local allies in the Bangladesh Liberation War. On the same day in 2003, US troops found former president of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, hiding in a cellar in Adwar. Hussein's capture led to his conviction and hanging for a 1982 massacre in Dujali, Iraq.
And up next, we get to our segment Web Review, wherein a colleague joins us every morning to get us what all headlines have been published in various web portals of social media.
And joining us now is our colleague Nancy Kohli. A very good morning to you, Nancy. It's over to you for the web review.
Thanks, Preeti and Rukman. Good morning to both of you. Let's begin with what is making it to the headlines this morning. In fact, I've picked up the Indian Express. First of all, to begin with, COVID-19 vaccination in India may start in January. Expect normal life to return by October. And this, in fact, has been stated by the Serum CEO, Adar Poonawala, who said that the COVID-19 vaccination drive was likely to begin in India by January, as his firm, which is testing and manufacturing the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine candidate, was expecting to get emergency use authorization by month end. He was speaking at the Economic Times Global Business Summit, and he said that he expected everyone in India to be vaccinated by October next year, following which normal life could return. He also said once 20% of India gets the COVID vaccine, we can hopefully see the confidence and the sentiments coming back. So there's something that perhaps we can all look forward to through his statement. Moving on now, historic US COVID vaccine campaign launches with a convoy of trucks. US regulators have authorized the vaccine firm Pfizer and partner BioNTech for use, and the US Marshals will accompany the tightly secured shipments from factory to final destination. And in fact, the officials here said that they have spent months strategizing with the Operation Warp Speed officials and healthcare customers on the efficient vaccine logistics, and the time now has arrived to put the plan into action. Remember, of course, Pfizer's inoculations have the most restrictive requirements for shipping and storage temperature, well, that is minus 70 degrees Celsius. Moving on now to some, in fact, news that we've got from the banking sector. The central bank saying that the 24/7 RTGS transaction facility to start from today. In fact, the RBI governor has made it clear that the real-time gross settlement at the RTGS facility in the country will become operational from today noon, making India one of the few countries in the world to operate the system 24/7. Remember, earlier we would only have the RTGS only for a certain time available. Now it will be made possible throughout the day. That's for 24 hours, and that has been made clear by the central bank. Moving on now, well, there's again a new rule for the check payments from 1st of January. So what the central bank is now saying that they've decided to introduce the positive pay system for check in August in an announcement made by Governor Shaktikanta Das. While under this new check payment rule, the reconfirmation of the key details now will also be needed for the payments beyond 50,000 rupees, and this rule will come into effect from 1st of January next year, now with the purpose of ensuring the consumer safety and lowering the cases of fraud in the check payment. So this is in fact another a reform that's in fact going to be introduced initiative going to be introduced for the benefit of the customers, and in fact more than that, for their safety. Well, that's all that I've picked up for this morning. Preeti and Rukma, it's back to you for the rest of the news.
All right, thank you so much, Nancy, for joining us with those inputs in the web review.
And it's time now to take a look at what all changes the weather is undergoing, what has been forecast by the IMD in the weather forecast. Fall in minimum temperatures by 2 to 3 degrees Celsius over northwest India in the next 2 days. No significant change in minimum temperatures over central and west India in the next 24 hours, and fall by 2 to 4 degrees thereafter. Rain thunder showers observed at isolated places over Madhya Pradesh, Madhya Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Under the influence of a strengthening of the easterly wave, isolated to scattered rain or thunder showers expected over Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Karaikal, Kerala and Mahe and adjoining subdivisions, with possibility of isolated heavy falls over Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Karaikal from 16 to 18 December. And dense to very dense fog in isolated pockets very likely over UP in the next 5 days. Dense fog in isolated pockets over Punjab, Haryana and Chandigarh, Rajasthan, West Madhya Pradesh in the next 24 hours, and over Uttarakhand in the next 24 hours. Moderate to dense fog in isolated pockets over Delhi in the morning hours of 15th of December. And visibility recorded at 5:30 hours IST of today in Amritsar, 25 meters each, in Jammu, Churu, Bhagalpur, Purnia, Malda and Kailashahr, 50 meters each, Hisar, Gaya and Komila, 200 meters each. Time now for temperatures in major cities. Well, we've come to the end of this edition of Breakfast News. But before we go, as always, we leave you with some glimpses of a sight that will make your day as it kicks off. Today, we bring you glimpses of snow of the season in North Korea's capital, Pyongyang, on Sunday. Take a look at these visuals and enjoy.
Yes, but before we go, we always get to this reminder of Mask Up India, being part of the Mask Up India initiative, which we're running on DD India and DD News. Remember, it's just a simple task: wear a mask. This is the most cost-effective and the best means to keep yourself and people around you safe against COVID-19. With that, we'll end this bulletin here. Thanks for watching Breakfast News. Bye-bye.